My name is Tracy D. Malone, and I'll help you unlock your mastery and hidden profits so you can work less, get paid more. Welcome, everyone. My name is Tracy Malone, and my guest today is Tyler Gregory. Tyler Gregory is with ADP out of the Atlanta South region, and Tyler is a rock star. He earned his DM spot within 6 months and his SDM spot within 1 year. So, Tyler, congratulations to you for that. Welcome to today's session.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here again and look forward to talking to you and your audience again as well.
Awesome, awesome. So, Tyler, you're going to tell us a little bit more about yourself in a few seconds. But what I wanted to do today is go ahead and introduce our topic. So, our topic today is maintain your lifestyle, stay ahead of the cost of living, and max your profits. So, if you are joining us for the first time, just know that we did one session prior to this, and that session was titled Maintain Your Lifestyle and Build Your Future Wealth, Empowering Solutions for Today's Entrepreneurs. So, you don't want to miss that. Check it out. There's going to be a link in the description or in the comments. So, Tyler, we had a great time our first chat, didn't we?
We sure did. We really got to touch on how entrepreneurs build wealth and are able to do the things they want to do and live that lifestyle that they love living. You know, being on their own, doing the specific job or function, the niche that they have. It was a great talk for sure.
Yeah, it was great. It was short and it was sweet and it was to the point, and we packed a lot of value in about 20 minutes. So you definitely want to check that out again. Watch the video using the link in the description or the comments. But today, I'm even more excited about what we're going to share because it is timely. It is very timely. So we all know that one of the biggest topics right now, Tyler, is inflation. Now, before we get into that, though, tell us a little bit more about you. You're coming from ADP, and you're out here not just talking to, um, a set of business owners, but you're really having a conversation with all business owners of all sizes, big and small. So, tell us a little bit more about your niche that you created. Tell us a little bit more about why you chose ADP.
Of course. So I guess I do a lot, kind of how you just mentioned, Tracy. Whether it's big business owners, medium-sized business owners, entrepreneurs. I help them with payroll, whether it be showing wages. I also help bookkeepers and accountants and tax pros by helping their clients show wages, stay compliant, stay on track. I also work with credit lenders and startup funding companies to help entrepreneurs get off the ground. Biggest way and quickest way to build business credit is through payroll.
Mm.
And being that I work with ADP, it's a Fortune 500 company. It's the biggest payroll company in the world. But the good thing is there's actual people, feet on the ground, just like myself, that work hand in hand with accountants, bookkeepers, tax pros, business consultants, entrepreneurs, that mom and pop grocery store or that one person real estate agent. So just being able to be there to help facilitate and get them to the financial goals that they want to be at, whether that be in 2 months, in 2 years, or in 10 years. Like that's where
Mhm.
I kind of come in and connect a lot of the dots.
That's awesome. That's really awesome to hear. So, I'm excited about today's topic. I do want to remind everyone that if they stay until the end, both of us will have a valuable free offer for them. So, we'll give you a free resource if you stay to the end. Let's start this off by talking about two big topics: the cost of living and inflation.
Yep.
Oh boy, we just experienced a year where we saw many of the prices that we are accustomed to paying are now through the roof, right? The cost of a gallon of milk, the cost of a carton of eggs, the cost of gas for automobiles, the cost of utilities, electricity, water, you name it. Everything is gone up, right? Since the pandemic. Let me ask you, Tyler, do you think it's going to go back down anytime soon?
No, there's no way. I don't think it could ever go down. I think about the house that I once had in 2020 and what I got for it. And now I think about the house that I bought this year and the same house, prices are nowhere near the same. And it's just, yeah, I don't think it'll ever go back to that.
Right. I mean, you mentioned real estate. I spent more than 20 years in real estate. I started out with Call a Banker, got Rookie of the Year award, and I could tell you that real estate today is nothing like it was more than 20 years ago. Like there's a night and day difference in cost.
Hmm.
And like you said, it's not going back down ever.
No, it's and you add in not just the price of a home, the price of a vehicle. I have a Chevy truck, and I know when I bought it, I remember looking at prices, and I had a screenshot on my phone of basically the same truck from a year before when it was on the market. It was an $8,000 difference in just 1 year. So prices are going up. You know, shortages are out there too. So yeah, it's a lot for us to wrap our heads around.
You're right. I mean, I had the experience of buying an automobile in 2024 as well. And I could tell you it was nothing like when I bought an automobile in 2018.
Hmm.
I mean, it was a night and day difference. I had buying power in 2018 because not a lot of people were buying
Hmm.
automobiles. It wasn't a big thing.
Yeah.
But since the pandemic, the idea of car ownership just went through the roof. Also, the idea of inflationary prices that dealerships started charging went through the roof, and it seemed like everybody needed a vehicle.
Yeah.
So I've definitely seen what you're referring to, and the increase. I believe you're right. It's not coming back down. Doesn't matter if it's for housing, a carton of eggs. It doesn't matter what it is. It's not coming back down because once the manufacturer or maker of the thing realizes that they can get that price, they will continue to charge that price. They will not likely ever go back down, right? So I like what we're talking about today because we're talking about ways in which that business owner can keep more money in their pocket. Like we're going to give them strategies and tips and techniques for keeping more of their hard-earned money in their pocket, like legally, like nothing shady. Like this is what you can do to keep more of your money, right? So, Tyler, one of the things that I like about what you do is you actually help those business owners create wealth. And this is one way that they can stay ahead of the cost of living and inflation by having a mindset that they're going to build wealth into their business so that they can leave a legacy. So tell us about a niche market that you've created inside of ADP, the umbrella of ADP, for helping small business owners to look bigger on paper and to keep more of their money in their pocket.
Yeah, for sure. One of the biggest ways is, and I know we keep hitting on it's, I say the word showing wages, showing wages, showing wages, but it's not only that. You could be showing wages for yourself. It could be paying contractors that an entrepreneur works with through ADP. And to your point of making it look bigger on paper, sometimes you have this, whether it be on LinkedIn or you have this great brand that you've built for yourself as an entrepreneur. But you don't show anything on paper, right? You're not reporting it to that, whether it be the IRS, or you're not reporting it to the Dun and Bradstreet to build business credit. And I think that's where I can really help business owners is you get to do both, right? You get to show your business has expenses, you're showing them it, whether, and that's reporting to Dun and Bradstreet, which is building that business credit consistently. And then, you know, you want to show yourself as an employee of your business, and get those loans to expand your business and grow, right? No one wants to be where they're at today in 6 months, in a year, in 10 years, right? You want to keep growing because if you're staying the same, everyone else around you is going to continue to grow. And I think that's where myself and the bookkeepers and the accountants that I work with can help them and other entrepreneurs that they have go to that next step. I think that's probably pretty much the biggest key of it.
Okay, so you said a mouthful there, and I need to rewind this so we can really break this down because if somebody's munching on a burger or sipping some coffee, they might have missed the big takeaway, the big tip that you just dropped. You dropped several gems. I heard you mention Dun and Bradstreet. Now, let's back that up. What do you mean? What are you talking about?
So Dun and Bradstreet, working with the Better Business Bureau, it's like one of the biggest business credit agencies, and ADP directly reports to them. So I have some clients who they didn't know that, right? And they weren't paying themselves, but they were doing 1099s. So they were just handing out checks, right? It wasn't being reported. Well, they became a partner of ADP and they started doing that, right? It started building it. He called me. He said, "Hey, I noticed that my score had been going up in the last month." And I said, "I told you, man." And then the other thing that he mentioned was he was able to get the loan because he has it's a like a truck service. He was
Mm-hmm.
able to get a second loan to get a second van, and that's huge for him, right? So now he can double his output because he had that loan. So doing all those things just helped him get to the point where he wanted to be.
That's incredible. Now, we need to dwell on this a little bit longer because I'm hearing a lot of gems. Now, one thing I just picked up that you put down is that you basically helped him collapse time. You helped him go from point A to point B basically within the conversation.
Mhm.
And the result of that was his business was able to increase profits and he was able to grow and expand within a couple of hours, like within the conversation.
Mhm.
So what do you think the impact on his business was in terms of what it did for him, not just professionally, but you know, personally, like in terms of how he's able to provide for his loved ones or family or partner or whatever. Did he mention anything about that, or have you heard any other uh like testimonials or results?
Yeah, I mean, it specifically didn't hit on on like what it got for him, but Christmas is coming up. He has children, so I know from the additional revenue that he is able to generate by having a second van to run in town to deliver stuff, like that impacted him. That put more food on the table, so to speak.
Mm,
It also allowed him to not have to pick and choose between what jobs he wants to pick up. Because now, if that one job that he wanted to pick up is further out, he can go get that job as well and also have the one that's local that he wants to run because he's got two vehicles. It like you said to your point, in a matter of hours, he was able to go from where he thought how long it thought it would take him to get to where he wanted to be to, oh wow, I'm there so much faster.
right, because another thing I heard you say is that it evidently sounds like he was already working on this credit report, like his
Mhm.
credit score, like his business credit score.
Yep.
But then with that conversation with you, like all of the hard work he was doing on his own to achieve a higher score with your help, it almost like happened overnight.
Yeah, I mean, it pretty much, he was like, "Wow, I got this back." I noticed the number had jumped up. Just being able, like you said, being able to just get there faster. Because you talked about inflation, we talked about the cost of things. Well, if he can outrun the cost of things, he's ahead of the game, and that's one of the biggest things for sure.
I love that idea. I mean, to me, that's the type of mind blowing uh, outcomes that I want my clients to have too. I want them to be able to go from 0 to 60 in seconds. I want them to be able to go from where they are now to light years ahead where they thought it would take longer. But just by having a conversation with intention with someone who's skilled at what they do, who have mastered their craft, we can actually help to shed so much light on different ways that they can get there sooner than later. So that's really fantastic. So if you're somebody who's listening to this and you don't have this set up, you don't have a Dun and Bradstreet score, you want one, you'd rather not do it on your own. This right here, Tyler's just opened up an opportunity for you to be able to have a chat with him to get there sooner than later. So that's really great. So, I mean, at the end of, if I had to sum it all up, Tyler, what I'm hearing you talk about is that you can help small business owners build a solid financial foundation so that they can build a legacy of wealth that can be passed down to generations.
Absolutely. I mean, you hit the nail on the head with that.
I mean, because let's face it, if that guy had not crossed your path, he might still be struggling to have a business that's highly profitable,
Mhm.
which means that if something happened to him, his business would probably cause his family, to have a financial loss
Yeah. Absolutely.
instead of a gain, right?
Absolutely.
But because he did sit down and have a conversation with you, he was able to elevate, he was able to add income, he was able to add profits. And so now he's able to take care of those people in case something happened to him. So I really love that idea. I think that's a win. Now, one of the things I love doing too is similar to what you just talked about. I'm all about being able to help people elevate, and it's in terms of their mastery. So I've got this very simple philosophy that when you max your mastery, you can max your profits, right? So it's all about stop leaving money on the table, right? If you're a small business owner, and let's say that you're hourly, let's talk about ways that you can max your mastery, transition from hourly to project based, transition from hourly to outcome based, solution based, right? If you're hourly, you're grabbing the lowest hanging fruit. Everybody in your industry is likely doing that same thing. However, if you can max your mastery, package that up, add value, increase the price, increase the value, offer something that's unique to your level of mastery, then what you'll end up with is being able to attract clients who are now willing to pay you more. They're willing to uh, listen to your way of doing things that's maybe slightly different than what they thought they needed or even what they thought was possible, right? So that's something that I can highly, highly recommend that when you combine both what you just described and what I just described, there's no reason why that business owner would not be more profitable. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's the biggest thing. It's like time is money. You think about what are you doing? How are you spending your time? Are you doing tedious tasks that you don't love to do? Whether that be digging through numbers to see what you need to pay yourself or whatever it may be. Like that's the biggest thing is getting to where you want to be with your time, right? Because if you can put time back in your day and you add revenue and profits to your day, I mean, that's what we all want at the end of the day.
That's a win-win situation, and those are my favorite wins to create, right? We've got about 4 areas that we're going to discuss within this conversation. And one is cutting expenses, 2 is adjusting your pricing strategy, 3 is negotiating contracts, and 4 is focusing on cash flow. So, um, adjusting your pricing strategy, I think both of us hit that already. Like the pricing strategy, from my perspective, I just described that. You can look for different ways to add value that you're not currently doing, but your mastery will allow you to do it if you just had the offer. Like you just need to create an offer, and I can
Mhm.
help you with that. It's a high value offer, so it's not your average offer. And then you just spoke about, Tyler, being able to show them how to increase the value of their business, which essentially is another way of adjusting your pricing or your value. So, and then also, Tyler, what you spoke about, it helps them to negotiate contracts too if they've got a great business credit score.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you think about when you walk into the bank and the bank asks you for the last pay stubs or a statement from the business. being able to go in there with your stuff in order, you have your numbers, you have what you want to get, your business credit score is up, your personal credit score is up. You're going to get the things that you want to get. You're going to get the funding that you want to get. You're going to get the loan. You're going to get the preferential treatment of two people who want an office space that are entrepreneurs so they can do something outside of their home, and have a place where people can come into, to your point of like, getting to your mastery. That way that attracts the clients that you want to attract, because
Mhm.
you're putting yourself in a position physically, from going to an office space if you want to rent an office, or getting another van if you want to get another van. And that's how you get to where you want to be.
That is so good. That is so good. Um, and I think that we were talking before, and you gave that one example. Maybe you can expand on that, because weren't you telling me that there was one client that you helped go into an office?
Yeah, absolutely. There was a local insurance agent I know, and she was kind of going through the same thing, like she's like, I was trying to get a loan to move into this building. They needed to show pay stubs. And I was like, I'm making a lot of money doing this, but I don't have that. And it was kind of like a right place, right time. I was like, oh my goodness, like that's actually what I can help you with. And so we were able to get her stuff set up. Her son worked for her. We were able to get her payroll set up for him as well, to start showing some wages. And she was able to, in 60 days with 2 months bank statements, or excuse me, 2 months pay stubs, get the office building she wanted to. And it was good timing, because it was actually a better office building than the one she was going to originally get. So it's funny how things work out that way. But just being able to do that and get her to where she wanted to be, because now clients can come to her office that she has set up perfectly. It's not her home, which she loves working out of her home too. But when you have that certain meaning that you want with that certain client, that office makes a pretty big difference.
That is mind blowing. So again, we've got another example where you were able to collapse time for someone, save them the time and the money of doing it the long way, and you were able to help them make it happen overnight. That's incredible.
Yeah, no, that's it. I mean, I think sometimes the like what we want to get, it feels more out of reach until we're open to having a conversation with people about how do we get our business to the next level, right? Because any successful business owner, I mean, sometimes we have a bit of an ego where it's like, I don't want to, like, I want to figure it out on my own because that's what you've done for so long. But God, like, what if you could get there in a quarter of the time rather than what you probably would have done? Well, that time that you saved is going to put you so much further in advance. So, I mean, that's a fun thing to see.
I love that, and I like the way you put that too. And what I've noticed, this is what I've noticed, Tyler. I've figured this out. I've had an epiphany going through this process myself. I realized that the person who has mastered their craft is willing to trade time for money.
Yeah.
And the person who is not certain they've mastered their craft, or they feel like they're not quite there yet, they need a few more years' experience doing XYZ before they give themselves the title of having figured it out, they're willing to trade um, their time doing their own research,
Hmm.
but they're not willing to pay for help to get to the place where they want to be.
Absolutely. I mean, it's an investment. It's not an expense. And I think we in our first video we kind of hit on that too, but that is the biggest thing. It's a small investment to get to where you want to be.
I love that. So, one of the things is that I want us to help people to see this big picture that's right in front of us. Because since we had our first chat, Trump has been elected again for president. And we want to talk about what the business owner should expect moving forward with the second Trump presidency. So, what I want to do is just to highlight a few of the things that happened for small business owners when he first was in office. So, the first time around when he was in office, he definitely was, I could say, a godsend to small business owners. I mean, for me, it really worked out. And I want to say, I do have some links that I'll be dropping down in the description or the comments where people can check this out themselves. But here's my quick recap for you. is that according to Javita Carranza, she was a former administrator of the SBA during Trump's first term. She said that small businesses rather, drove the Trump recovery. In an article for SBA, she mentioned the following: PPP loans, we all know that that was that Paycheck Protection Program. They awarded $525 billion in forgivable loans. Also, $3.6 million in economic injury disaster loans. We know those were the COVID EIDL loans. Small Business Administration microloans up to $50,000 in startup capital. And then federal contracting for women-owned businesses increased at the fastest rate ever. And they were able to open an additional 7 offices for women business development centers throughout the US. However, the second time around, heads up, I believe it's going to look different due to the fact that we have inflation and we have a weakened global economy right now. So we're going to give you our takes on this and some ways in which you can actually, like we mentioned before, stay ahead of the cost of living. So Tyler, tell us about this. Again, we were talking about inflation, cutting expenses, adjusting your pricing strategy, negotiating contracts, and focusing on cash flow. Talk to us about one of those from your perspective.
Yeah, cash flow, it's a big one, right? You talk about cutting expenses, and as a business owner, it's typical that you have a bunch of different vendors for certain things, right? I mean, if we, as individuals, if we look at how many subscriptions we have, whether it be for Netflix or Hulu or ESPN or Disney Plus, like we probably have so much that we don't even realize we're paying for. And like, oh my God, I don't do that. I don't need that. It costing me money and it's not benefiting me at all. So I think one is take a look at the vendors that you have for your business, and then take a look at like how can I the money that I am going to spend on vendors, how can I make sure that they are giving me something in return, right? And that's one of the things I mentioned, obviously, with the building business credit, showing wages, but also cash flow. And this is kind of speaking to the accountants and bookkeepers out there. When it comes to payroll and the payroll costs, sometimes they like to eat the cost of that, and in return, they might not get it back as quick as they want to. And that's a way that I help some of the bookkeepers and accountants. It's like, hey, let's get rid of that. Let's not have you eating that cost, because regardless whether it's you or the client that has it, the same amount of money is being pulled. So if you want to stay ahead of it as the accountant and bookkeeper, and you think if you got 100 clients, that's 100 clients times the cost. That's a lot of cash flow that you could not have to worry about. That's the biggest thing I see from it.
That's really good. So we're probably talking thousands of dollars.
For sure. I mean, yeah, depending on the scale. If it's 3 people in a monthly period, that's a lot lower. But if it's 100, if it's 200, if it's a massive firm, you're talking about thousands of clients that they're eating the cost. That they're just, it's very beneficial to take a look at those things and evaluate it.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I love that idea of reevaluating what's going on in their business. So for instance, if you're a person out there, maybe you're an accountant, maybe you're a tax preparer, maybe you're a bookkeeper, and maybe you have not done business with ADP yet, right? Maybe you're doing business with one of their competitors. I would highly recommend that if you are willing to sit down and take a look at the options that ADP can provide you with, you owe it to yourself and to your clients who you want to serve better. You owe it to yourself to take a look at their offer versus who maybe you might be using right now, right? So I would highly recommend that. I'm sure Tyler would be open to that, right, Tyler?
Absolutely. I mean, to your point, ADP is such a big company. But one of the things I mentioned is the benefit of an individual like myself, feet on the street, whether or not I'm in your town or not, we can still work together because the connection is through Tracy. So yeah, that's definitely something you want to take a look at. And I'm sure at the end she'll put links to myself in there. That way I can get in touch with them as well.
Right, absolutely. So we're just about ready to wrap up now, Tyler. So actually, we told them that if they stayed until the end, we would both give them something free and valuable. So what I will say is that what I'd like to offer you is something that's been very popular and trending on my LinkedIn page is a roadmap. This is the work less, get paid more roadmap. I don't know any business owner who wants to work more and not also get paid more, right? So I want to help you reduce the hours that you work. I want to help you increase the amount of profits. So what I've done is created a roadmap, and it's a free download. You can watch a video on YouTube, or you can go to my LinkedIn profile featured section and you can download the roadmap there. So that's my offer to you. And once you take a look at that, I would love to have a chat with you to talk about how we can max your mastery so we can max your profits and your time freedom. Tyler, tell us about your offer.
Yeah, of course. So mine is pretty much a complimentary evaluation of how the business looks in real life versus what it looks like on paper. And we kind of hit on that earlier in the conversation, but my goal is to help you look better and bigger on paper. You know, when you walk into that bank or you're trying to get that office space or that van, whatever it may be, to get to the wealth that we really hit on, that Tracy hits on. And not everyone's wealth looks the same. You know, as mentioned, there's a couple different scenarios I talked about. One was the guy getting the extra van to be able to double his output. One was the agent who got the office space. You know, recently, like I said, helping those people, you're talking about a 60 and 90-day window where they were able to turn around. So I've just, you know, like she said, I really want to be able to connect with you guys and have a conversation, just open conversation about where you're at, where you want to be, and see if I can help you get there as quick as possible.
I agree with that. Ditto what Tyler said. That's all I want to do too. Like, where are you now? Where do you want to be? How can I help you get there faster, save time and money in the process? So this has been incredible, Tyler. Thank you for joining me today. I hope everyone out there had some takeaways. Feel free to reach out to us. We'll have links for our pages on LinkedIn, and you can have a conversation with us. Neither one of us are looking to um, do anything but serve you to our highest and best ability and have you end up with a favorable outcome.
Of course. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Tracy.
Right. Thank you, Tyler.